I'm so pleased to see you here. I'm Dani, and today's video is going to be a reaction video to my Hermes Birkin 25 failed unboxing. Not only that, this is going to be a collaboration video with my friend here on YouTube, Lokie from Life with Lokie. And firstly, I want to give Lokie a big shout out and a big thank you for helping me buy my very first Birkin 25. If you don't already know, Lokie is a real Hermes lover and also a guru. And it was Lokie who introduced me to this seller, Finklepuff, where I bought my Birkin from. Lokie has purchased from Finklepuff before, and what we did notice was that there are differences in the process of purchasing from Finklepuff, whether you live in Singapore, which is where Finklepuff is based, or whether you live elsewhere. For example, I live in Australia. And this is why we thought this collaboration would be worthwhile. So other than reacting to my Birkin unboxing fail, I will detail the process of myself purchasing from Finklepuff living in Australia. And over on Lokie's channel, she will explain the local process. Otherwise, I also want to address some of the comments that were made on my Birkin unboxing fail video. First of all, thank you so much to those of you who watched the video and left really kind comments. I wasn't particularly thrilled in that video, as you guys saw, but it has gotten better since. And again, thank you so much again for those of you who were concerned. So she just came in some bubble wrap. Alright, so you can see at this point in time, when I open the box, there is really just this one layer of bubble wrap adjacent to the bag. The bubble wrap wasn't even wrapped around the bag, it was literally just placed, I think, underneath. Yeah. Oh, so this meant that the bag was kind of just bouncing around that big DHL box, and the bubble wrap was only on one side. Oh, yeah. So that was the first whammy. At this point, what I noticed was that the bag was not even closed. So I guess what I expected was the bag would be closed and it would come with a piece of felt that's usually placed between the flap and the bag to, I guess, protect the leathers from constantly being in contact with each other and I guess absorb a bit of moisture. I'm just gonna have a closer look at her. I have to say, I'm slightly disappointed at how she was wrapped. And I guess when something is not wrapped properly or packaged properly, you then expect the bag to be in, pristine condition or to have properly survived the transit. And I guess this is when I looked very closely for any defects or extra damage. Okay, so that stuffing that I pulled out, that was all the stuffing that came in the bag. It wasn't even properly stuffed. And the seller also promised me a box and the receipt, but they're not here. So I was looking for the receipt which was promised by the seller. With this bag, the listing stated that there was no box, but when I was negotiating with Finklepuff, I stated that I would like a box, and she said, okay, fine, that's fine, I will include that in the price and I will find a box for you. There wasn't one. This was also advertised as like new by the seller, and I did get pictures from the seller, but I feel like there's a bit more wear and tear that I can see. There's a small chip here on the hardware. Yeah, there's this chip right here. Can you see that? The other thing I noticed, cracked glazing. Is that normal? So right over here. Yeah. And some cracked glazing just over there. So I inspected the bag really closely, as you would anyway for a bag, for any bag, any luxury bag or any item that you purchase online. Obviously, I was very disappointed to find that there was a chip in the hardware and also the cracked glazing. Fortunately, the leather was okay. And over here, I've gone ahead and closed the bag myself. So hardly a luxurious unboxing, really. I have seen other YouTubers unbox bags from Finklepuff, but none of them that I've seen anyway did a true unboxing. So obviously the packaging was very surprising to me. Now in terms of this color, she's got a bit more orange yellowish undertone than I expected. I thought she'll be a bit more pink. In terms of the color of the bag, yes, the color is a brownish shade of red than I expected. These were the photos that the seller had sent to me, and they certainly do have a cooler tone. So when I first saw the bag, I actually wondered whether it was even the same bag in the listing that she had sent me. Now, I took a closer look because I had already found the chip in the hardware. I zoomed in on some of the photos that she showed me, and definitely there was the evidence of the chip already existing. It was extremely small. Unless it was pointed out, I don't think it would be reasonable to expect that a buyer would see that chip in the photo. On top of that, there was plastic also covering that hardware. So even if someone spotted it, I think it was easy to assume that it might just be reflection from the plastic. The other thing about the color is I obviously went into the sun to take photos of the chip. In the photos that I took in direct sunlight, it came out the same color as what was sent in the listing. After I was reassured that at least I was sent the bag that I bought, I was okay with that. I felt like, okay, well, it's not really her fault that the lighting is different on her photos. And also watching back some of this footage on other devices, the color of this bag has come out differently on different screens. Kind of just got over that. I've dressed it up with twillies and a bag charm, and I actually really like the color now. So obviously a clear disappointment of an unboxing, but let's go back to the start of the video. This arrived 6 days ago, but I haven't unboxed it, mainly because I haven't had time to film and I wanted this to be a true unboxing. And I kind of don't want the moment to be over because this is like my last first. Because you know, in life, you get a limited number of firsts, right? Your first job, your first car, your first house. And for a luxury lover, this is going to be my very first Birkin. And for me, that's like the pinnacle of my luxury handbag journey, right? I already have a Kelly. This is like my last first. So I kind of don't want the moment to be over. And this whole week, when I've been thinking about this moment when I unboxed this, I felt tingles down my spine. I've been blushing just at the thought of meeting this baby. But it is time, and I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. I hyped it up so much. I mean, I don't blame myself. I was really excited for this unboxing. And I guess after I unboxed it and I was like, oh, this is not what I expected, I was a little bit embarrassed because I knew what I said in the intro. And then I thought, okay, how am I going to pitch this video? And decided that, okay, just whatever. Just call it an unboxing fail. As I said in the video, I went ahead and got in touch with the seller again, of course, with what I found. I wasn't going to just let her get away with it. And I said, look, there's this chip here on the hardware that wasn't declared, and there's also some cracked glazing. Initially, Finklepuff's response was, well, it's not a new bag. And I said, well, it's listed as like new. So I would expect it to be very much like new. And if I looked at the bag, I don't expect to see much wear and tear because, you know, I have a ton of bags that I've used a number of times that still look like new. And if I took it back to the store and someone put it on a shelf, you know, it's completely resellable as new. I still said, look, I still feel like a dent like this in the hardware needed to be declared. Finklepuff then said, okay, well, Hermes can probably fix it for about 300 Australian dollars. And she agreed to provide me a refund of 300 Australian dollars. So that was nice, and I was, you know, satisfied with that. I forgot to mention that one of the things that Finklepuff did say was that she was willing to buy the bag back from me if I was not satisfied with the condition of the bag. This more or less implies that she does not accept returns, so bear that in mind. Then I asked her about, okay, so where's my box, where's the receipt, and where's my piece of felt that's supposed to come with the bag? And initially Finklepuff said, look, the listing stated that there wasn't going to be a box. And I said, I know that, but that's why I asked you for a box and you promised me one. She checked back on our messages and realized that yes, she did promise me a box. She apologized and she said it was an oversight, and she also said like it was an oversight for her to miss sending me the receipt as well. And by the way, it was a copy of the receipt, not the receipt. And look, I was fine with that as well. In terms of how quickly she sent that to me, it took her a couple of weeks and I did have to remind her, but eventually when she sent it, she sent the box as well as the receipt via DHL, so that arrived really quickly once she got it sorted. The box is slightly damaged. In my mind, that doesn't really matter. I merely wanted a box that was custom sized to my Birkin for myself to store it. I know some of us are really, you know, pedantic about the whole set and so on and so forth, but I find as long as the main good is intact, I'm generally not that fussed about the condition of the extras. With the felt, she said all her second-hand Hermes bags come without felt. So if you're going to purchase from Finklepuff, bear this in mind. Of course, you can go and purchase your own felt and, you know, cut holes in it so that it fits your Birkin. I've actually bought a piece of felt, but I have not yet had the time to go and cut it up so that it fits my Birkin. I do have a copy of the receipt right here. I was really curious to see what the original price was. However, it's been deliberately blacked out. I can tell that the bag was purchased at Hermes London by a buyer who lived in Singapore. And someone made a comment in the unboxing video about whether this color was really geranium or was it brick, and on the receipt it is written as geranium. The other thing was Finklepuff didn't send me a receipt for our actual transaction, you know, the one where I purchased the bag from her. Loki encouraged me to bug her, so eventually she did email a formal receipt. What was more important to me was that I got a Birkin 25, not Birkin 30. I wanted it in Togo leather because Togo leather is known to be a leather that's quite easy to spar by Hermes. So if you've got a Togo leather bag that's quite worn, if you send it to Hermes Spa, it can come back looking pretty good. And Togo leather is also known to have a lot of veining, and I really wanted a Togo leather bag that didn't have a lot of veining. I also had a budget of low 20s. In the end, I paid about 23 altogether for the bag, and from memory it was 500 Australian dollars to deliver the bag to myself. So all in all, it came out to about 23. You add the zeros, I'm not going to say it out loud. In terms of the process of purchasing from Finklepuff, so Finklepuff has an Instagram account where she sells these bags. I'm not aware of any other avenues where she sells these Hermes bags. And at any one time, you'll only get to see one photo of the bag when she posts them. Obviously, usually just the front-on image of the bag. The price that's listed, it's usually something like 22xxx. And every time you see an X, you best believe that underneath that X is a 9. So if it's 2xxxx, that's going to be a $30,000 bag. So although the price is not explicitly listed, you know that that is the price. If you see a bag that you're interested in, you contact Finklepuff via WhatsApp to see more photos. What became apparent to me when I was transacting with Finklepuff was that she doesn't actually have the bags with her. And to be honest, that more or less makes sense, because otherwise her bag will be full of Birkins and Kellys. That's a lot of storage space and a lot of liability to have in your home. So when I was interested in my bag and I wanted more specific photos, I had to pay a deposit of, I think it was 3,000 Australian dollars, and only then could Finklepuff go and acquire the bag and then take the photos that I specifically wanted. When I looked at the photos and I decided I was happy, she had answered all my questions to my satisfaction, I said yes, I'll take the bag. At that point, I had to transfer the balance of the money to Finklepuff, and only then does she send the bag to me. When she sent the bag to me, she used DHL. This is when the process differs if you live in Singapore, so go ahead and check out Loki's video where she'll explain what happens in Singapore. Did I find the process stressful? To be honest, I think the process is the same as purchasing any other luxury handbag. Probably it was a little bit tardy in the sense that some things that were promised that should have came with the package was not there. But in terms of paying for the item and then waiting for it to come, I think that process is exactly the same as purchasing any luxury handbag. It certainly was more stressful because of the sheer amount I paid for it. I was reassured that Finklepuff was a reliable seller, and I know that she will, you know, do the right thing and send the bag to me. She's not a scammer. So yeah, from that point of view, I trusted her as a seller, but I was just stressed because I did a bank transfer direct to Finklepuff. I have said many times before on my channel that you should always pay with PayPal, but it is quite typical that with some of these sellers where the amount of the item is so high, they only accept bank transfer. So the purse affair is similar. They only accept bank transfer for the Birkins and the Kellys. And because I knew Finklepuff was a reliable seller, if I wanted to buy from Finklepuff, that was what I had to do. On the market, I do find that Finklepuff is probably best priced, and you know, would I shop with her again? If I was on the market for another Kelly or Birkin, I certainly would. I think she has a lot of stock that gives me a lot of options. That's what I think I will do anyway. I can't picture myself doing this again because in hindsight, I am somewhat surprised that I just handed over 20,000 Australian dollars via bank transfer. I don't know, this is just what I say. Who knows what will happen in the future? You know, maybe I'll forget the stress and I'll just do it all over again in the future when the time is right, when my mindset is right. It's like, you know, you have babies and you forget all the stress of having a baby, you just go ahead and do it again. People forget. Now let's address a couple of comments from that video. So I had a couple of comments about whether, it was clever to remove the stickers when I did, and would the seller then take the bag back. Now the issue was I spotted a chip, but the sticker was sitting on top of it. For that bit of hardware, I had no choice but to remove the sticker to have a closer look. And I wanted to look at the rest of the hardware to see if there were any other defects or any other damage. At that point in time, I probably was a little bit reassured by the fact that I was unboxing everything live and I had video evidence about the condition of the bag. Maybe I was a little bit reassured then, but I will bear that in mind for the future to contact the seller when I first find a defect and not remove all the stickers. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. Now there were also questions asking whether I would take the bag back to Hermes, and yes, I certainly would. I don't live anywhere near an Hermes store. I have to fly at least 2 hours to get to any Hermes store in Australia. So the plan is for me to use the bag for a little bit, and then the next time I travel somewhere where there is an Hermes store, I will take it to Hermes and ask them to have a look at it and give me a quote to repair the dent as well as the glazing, and I guess at the same time I'm going to get free authentication. I also got a question about whether the color was my dream color. My dream color from Hermes is Blue Paradise. I absolutely love that color. It is a powder blue. Loki has a Lindy 30 I think in Blue Paradise, and I'm often drooling over that color. The reason I didn't get a Birkin 25 in Blue Paradise is because I actually have never seen a Birkin 25 in Blue Paradise on the resale market. I've only ever seen Birkin 30s as well as Kelly's. So I mean, let me know if you've seen a Birkin 25 in Blue Paradise. Just let me know, because I'd like to know that Hermes actually made them. Now Blue Paradise is a seasonal color. I think Hermes made it in like 2015, 2016. So it's not one that comes back very frequently. At one stage I thought, okay, why don't you get another blue? But I knew that whatever blue I get, I will still want Blue Paradise. So I knew, like, really don't bother getting a blue, especially one that is close to Blue Paradise. In which case it meant that I was open to most Hermes colors. I mean, we know what the really popular colors are from Hermes. The neutral colors, in fact, I don't actually like the neutral colors. I don't find them particularly exciting. The black, the gold, Etoupe, Etan, those are like the really popular neutral colors. And of course there's Cray. Cray I do like, and Baton I do like as well. However, often the really popular neutral colors are really expensive. There are other colors like Rose Pourpre, Malachite, Blue Zanzibar, Jaune Poisson, Vert Cricket. These are really, really popular Hermes colors. And although I think they're really pretty, they're way above my budget. So yeah, I was really happy to consider any other Hermes colors except from the blue family. My priority was that it was the right price, it was in good condition, it was in Togo, and not a lot of veining. Eventually I may still try and get a bag from Hermes in Blue Paradise. I don't know, we'll see if we come across one. There was also a question asking whether I looked anywhere else other than Finklepuff for my Birkin. And yes, so other than Finklepuff, like, there's another seller called Jail99. This seller was recommended by Purse on Fleek. However, I found that Jail99 doesn't have as much stock. I hear that Finklepuff is more responsive, that's why I went with Finklepuff. I also frequently look at websites like the Purse Affair. I did purchase my Kelly 32 from the Purse Affair. The Purse Affair is a brick and mortar business plus an online business. Their prices are a little bit higher. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. And if you want to support my channel, you can go ahead and pick Super Thanks, where you can nominate a monetary amount to contribute to the channel. Either way, thank you so much for watching this far into the video, and definitely go ahead and check out Loki's video over here.